Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. I'm your host, Kiana Canada. Welcome back to Kiana's Shelf. Ladies and gentlemen, I have been busy with my new series, The Public Square. This is where I go out in Belfast and I hold thought-provoking conversations with the public about human rights. I will create a playlist, but you can view those conversations on my YouTube channel. It's called The Public Square, and it's available for you to watch, and hopefully you learn something by watching them. Ladies and gentlemen, I had a very thought-provoking conversation about transnational repression this afternoon with a gentleman, and we had most of our discussion off camera because I wanted to conserve the amount of memory on the SD card so that there wouldn't be any disruption in our conversation. And so, ladies and gentlemen, that conversation was so thought-provoking and interesting. He had some interesting perspectives. And when we did do our interview, he gave really some eye-opening answers to my questions. And I think that that's what it's all about, isn't it? It's engaging in these discussions. As the interview ended, what I did was I held out my hand to shake his hand, and he gave me an embrace. And I thought that that was so kind because this is what humanity is about, right? It's about seeing the other person as a human being. Again, the person didn't know me, didn't know anything about me other than what I discussed with him about transnational repression and the interview that we conducted. Didn't know anything about me. And, I think that platonic interactions that are respectful, yet that has a sense of humanity to them, like that interaction and all the interactions that I have engaged in while doing the public square is what is needed. The fact that he did give me a hug, I think it demonstrates that he's seen me as a human being. That's not to say that other people who didn't give me a hug is not seeing me as a human, but it just, I feel it was like a touch of humanity. It's what we need in this world, is that platonic interaction. So I want to continue the discussion on transnational repression this evening, ladies and gentlemen, and I want to talk about subscriber inflation. And subscriber inflation is exactly what it sounds like. It's where you're adding inauthentic subscribers to an account that are not genuinely subscribed to a user's channel or their account. Now, subscriber inflation is not an illegal practice. Many people engage in subscriber inflation so that their channel can get noticed. It's not illegal for people to, increase their number of viewership that way. But what is illegal is where a cyber hacker or an intelligence firm engages in subscriber inflation or increases the number of views on a person's social media account to discredit them or to discredit the claims that they are making that their account is being either hacked or occupied by an intelligence agency. The countries that engage in this kind of political repression is the Republic of Ireland, Northern Ireland, and the United States. Now, you may say, well, Kiana, what is the goal of doing this? Well, the goal is plausible deniability. It's a social tactic that allows cyber hackers and governments, such as those working for intelligence agencies, to deny their participation in hacking into that person's account, or that they are engaging in an active role in carrying out cyber-related crimes. They know that people take mental shortcuts and they make split-second decisions about what they're saying. So, for example, if a human rights defender is saying that their account is being shadow banned or suppressed, a person would see the account and look at it and say, well, you were at 63 subscribers, but now you're at 67 subscribers. That does not appear to be suppression. Or your video went from 10 views to 150 views. That in no way is suppression. But I would beg to differ, because this is not genuine views. These are imputed views by an intelligence agency or a cyber hacker that is working on the back end. The subscribers are not genuine subscribers of that person's account. Say, for instance, YouTube. There could be subscribers that intelligence agencies will, or accounts that intelligence agencies will create to make it appear as if the person is getting, engagement on their account, but these accounts are occupied by the cyber hackers and the intelligence agencies themselves. And the problem with this is that it keeps the door open to an abuse of authority. And you may say, well, Kiana, why is this illegal? Well, let's look to the Council of Europe's Cybercrime Convention. Article 7 says that the intentional input, so the input is inputting or increasing the number of views or the number of subscribers, alteration, deletion, or suppression of computer data without a right. Did anyone give the cyber hacker or the intelligence firm to increase those views is the question, right? Or to alter those views. And I would argue no. But the problem here is that when the person goes to complain about it, it appears as if they are not perceiving things accurately. So, for example, if you say, "Well, I should be getting more views, or I should be getting more subscribers," then the intelligence agencies can say, "Well, this person is really engaged in delusions of grandeur. They're not that popular. They're not that interesting. They think that their content is that interesting, or they think that their content is that popular." It's the same thing with when a person is saying that their account shouldn't be getting an increase in a number of views, or that these subscribers are inauthentic. Then the cyber hackers can say, well, the person is delusional that their account is not starting to gain traction. You see, it's like a catch-22, and it allows the cyber hackers and the intelligence firms to, it gives them plausible deniability that they are actually altering the number of subscribers and altering the number of views on a person's channel. And the entire purpose of this, the reason behind this, is so that they can continue to occupy that person's social media accounts, so that they can continue to hold on to power, and they can continue to engage in transnational repression, and to prevent that person from actively being seen by a wider community. Now, there has been an important question that I've received, or statements that have been made throughout the Public Square series, where people are talking about evidence, right? And so I want to expound on that because people have differential access to information. And it is often the case that claimants have limited access to information needed to substantiate their claims in a substantial subset of such cases. The party on the other end, which is often the government, often has access to this information that would help clarify the veracity of these claims, but the government is actively participating in this illegal conduct, and they are often loath to disclose this information and to give this information to human rights organizations or the courts or even the victim themselves, right? So this is, of course, the government, and should this information go against the government, they would have no reason at all to disclose it, right? And that's the whole purpose, is this information goes against the government and it would hold them liable. And so they are loath to disclose this information to the victim and to others. Human rights courts have made it abundantly clear that once an applicant or claimant makes out a prima facie case that's a convincing argument on its face that their human rights are being violated, in this case that their accounts are being unlawfully hacked by cyber hackers or intel agencies, the burden of proof shifts to the government to disprove that. It is the case where the government fails to conduct an investigation, where the government fails to engage in a thorough investigation. When they fail to do so, the burden of proof remains on them, and there is a stronger argument that this conduct is happening. Now, authorities will, to reiterate, again, they will increase the number of subscribers or views on an account so that they can claim that they've engaged in what would appear to be an effective investigation when they really haven't. So they could say, well, this account is not being shadow banned. No one's hacked into this account. We looked into this. But in reality, it is the government that has engaged in this political repression, is occupying the accounts, and is suppressing the number of views, the number of subscribers, the number of comments, the number of shares, and a number of likes. Now, an important way to know that an account is not shadow banned is if the account is getting authentic commentary, if the account is getting authentic shares, and those shares and that commentary can be linked to an account that is often active, right? That's not in all cases, but in most cases it is. Like, my Facebook account only has one subscriber. That is due to transnational repression, but that is also to wear me out by attrition. And that's the purpose, right? To get me to continue to put in and then not receive anything in return, so that I feel that what I'm putting in is not making an impact. What I'm putting in is not registering with anyone. What I'm putting in is not reaching anybody. What I'm putting in is not good enough. And the purpose of political repression, transnational repression, is to make you feel exactly that, so that you stop your activity, you stop your human rights activism, and you engage in something else. That's the whole purpose. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you learned something new this evening. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. If you find transnational repression to be a thought-provoking phenomenon to study in academia, and we will talk to you next time. Bye-bye.